Polygon fill areas. So let us understand what is a polygon exactly. So here a polygon is a plane figure specified by set of three or more coordinate positions called vertices that are connected in a sequence by straight line segments called edges or sides of the polygon. So any polygon, when you are saying a polygon, it will have at least three vertices, okay, and it will have straight line segments. We call those as edges or sides, okay. So it is considered that polygon edges have no common point other than their endpoints, okay. So thus by definition a polygon must have all the vertices within a single plane. So whenever you say a polygon, it will be existing with the single plane, okay. You say x and y plane, okay, so it will exist within that xy plane, okay. And there can be no edge crossings also whenever you have a polygon. Examples of polygon include triangles, rectangles, octagons and decagons. So you have many examples for considering the polygon. Okay, any plane figure with closed polyline boundary is alluded to as a polygon, and one with no crossing edges is referred to as standard polygon or a simple polygon. So you can say that a triangle has a simple polygon. Okay, it has got so it is a polygon with three vertices. Okay, so a triangle is a polygon with three vertices. Similarly, you have a rectangle. Okay, you have a rectangle, okay, which has got four vertices, and these all the polygons lay on the same plane. Okay, similarly, you have a square. Okay, it has got edges, so you can see the edges. These are all straight line segments. Okay, so these form a polygon. Okay, so similarly you have hexagon, octagon, decagon. All those are examples for polygon. So in computer graphics applications, whenever I say a polygon, okay, so the polygon vertices do not exactly lie in one plane in case of computer graphic applications, because whenever you are going to draw a irregular shaped diagrams, for example you have uh, got a, a human shape, okay, you want to draw a human figure, so that time you may have a curved like surface, okay, but you want to show that curved surface with the help of polygon. So what exactly you may be doing? Okay, let us see that. Okay, so for a computer graphics application, it is possible that a designated set of polygon vertices do not exactly lie in one plane. This is due to round off error in the calculation of numerical values to errors in selecting coordinate positions for the vertices, or more typical to approximating a curved surface with set of polygon patches. So what exactly we may be doing for this kinds of figure? Okay, so for example, if you are considering a human figure, suppose you want to draw a human face. Okay, so you want to construct this face using the help of polygons. The curved areas also you can show with the help of polygons. So what exactly you may be doing in this case? So what you may be doing is you have to divide the specified surface mesh into triangles. The exact solution for this kind of curved surfaces, whatever you want to show here is, you have to divide the polygons, whatever the specified surfaces you have, okay, you want to divide it into simple triangles so that you can draw the particular polygon uh, in to show a curved surface. Okay, what you have to do, you divide all this particular surface into a triangular like structure. So here what exactly I am doing here is, I'm going to divide all this plane here to triangular like structure. Okay, so that you can adjust this particular figure to show the curved surfaces. So polygons are classified into two types. One you have convex polygon and another one you have concave polygon. So let us see what you mean by a convex polygon. So you have first figure here that is representing a polygon which is a convex polygon here. Okay. So let us see what exactly is that. The polygon is convex if all the interior angles of the polygon are less than 180 degree, where an interior angle of the polygon is an angle inside the polygon boundary that is formed by two adjacent edges. Okay, so this is the first condition. Okay, so all interior angles, if you are seeing here, all the interior angles existing between the two edges should be less than 180 degrees. So you can see that every angle, that is two, when you consider two adjacent edges, so this is one edge, this is one edge. Okay, so if you consider here, the angle between the two edges is less than 180 degrees. So this condition is satisfied here. And the next condition is to have a convex polygon is an equivalent definition of a convex polygon is that its interior lies completely on one side of the infinite extension line of any one of its edges. So that means here, suppose if you are going to extend particular edge here, for example, I am going to extend the edge to infinity. Okay, straight line I am going to drop. So that time what happens? Okay, so this line extension uh, will split this region into two parts. Okay, and the one region will have the polygon. Okay, so first region is this, second region is this one, is it? The second region you have got this part. So whenever you are going to draw certain line like this, that is going to infinity, you are going to split the area into two, exactly two regions. So but one of its uh, side, okay, the one of its side, you consider here second side, it will be forming one polygon. Okay, in the same way you can apply this condition to the other remaining part here. Okay, even if you draw a line in this manner, here again you get two regions where one region will fall in exactly the polygon. Okay, that is because of this uh, splitting. Okay, so an equivalent definition for a convex polygon is that interior lies completely on one side. So this is the interior that is completely lying on one side of the infinite extension line. Okay, so that is the meaning here. So also another condition you have, if we select any two points in the interior of the convex polygon, the line segment joining the two points is also in the interior. So suppose I consider here two points. Okay, I take 2 points here and I am going to draw a line here. Okay, so if you consider 2 points, okay, and you join the 2 points and it makes a line segment. So this line segment also lies within the interior of the polygon. So that's condition 3. Okay, so first condition is the interior angles should be less than 180 degree. Second condition is whenever you split the polygon with an infinite line here in this manner, okay, you get the interior polygon interior will be lying on one side of the infinite line extension. Another condition is the 2 points, whichever, whenever you consider any point in the within the polygon, it will be the line segment will lie within the polygon itself, interior of the polygon itself. So that's the third condition. So next thing, for example, you consider one more example, that is convex polygon. So you have one more diagram here. So let's see that. A polygon that is not convex is called a concave polygon. So if these three conditions are not being satisfied, then we can tell it as a concave polygon. For example, if you consider here the first condition, let us check it. So first consider this two edges. Here this angle is less than 180 degree. Second, two edges let us consider here. Second, to show that it is also having less than 180 degree. Let us check with the these two edges. Okay, here also it is less than 180 degree. But if you consider the edges that is lying here, okay, if you draw a degree over here, okay, what happens? Okay, you check the degree on this particular position. What happens? It's more than 180 degree. So first condition itself fails. Okay, so that you can say that it's a concave polygon. And next, if you are seeing another condition, okay, another second condition, if you want to check, let me take here, I'm going to extend this line position here in this manner. Okay, what happens? You consider this as the first side and this is the second side. Okay, uh, it splits the polygon into exactly two regions here. Okay, one polygon lies in the first side and the other polygon lies in the second side. Okay, so that's why this also second condition also fails for the concave polygon. And next, when we have suppose if you consider 2 points within the concave polygon, let me check that condition. So consider a 2 point. Okay, let me consider this 2 point and you draw a line segment between the 2 point. What happens? The line segment goes out of the polygon. So that's why third condition also fails. So this is how you check the convex polygon and concave. So let us see, we have understood here what is concave polygon, but how do you draw this concave polygon on using graphics, okay, computer graphics. So implementations of fill algorithms, so you have scan fill algorithm or seed fill algorithms. Okay, so implementations of fill algorithms and other graphics routines are more complicated when you are going to draw a concave polygon. So what is the solution for drawing a concave polygon? So it is generally more efficient to split a concave polygon into set of convex polygons before processing. So what we mean here is, suppose you consider here, this was an example, previous example, this was a concave polygon. What you have to do? You have to divide this particular polygon and you have to draw. So you got now how many, so it was actually a concave polygon. So now you have splitted the polygon and you get two triangles. So these two triangles are the normal simple polygons. So these polygons can be easily drawn. So in this way we are going to split the any concave polygon into exactly so you split the concave polygon into convex polygons before processing. Okay, so this is one of the solution having computer graphics. So let us see some of the characteristics of concave polygons. A concave polygon has at least one interior angle greater than 180 degree. So as you've seen in the previous example, you add an concave polygon with an angle, interior angle greater than 180 degree. The extension of some edges of concave polygon will intersect with other edges also. So this is the second point, and some pair of interior points will produce a line segment that intersects the polygon boundary. So these are the few characteristics of concave polygon. You can easily remember this. So let us see the algorithms here to identify the concave polygons. Identification algorithm 1. Identifying concave polygon by calculating cross products of successive pairs of edge vectors. So here the first algorithm is going to consider one of the concave polygon here. Okay, assume that this is so you know that this is an concave polygon. Okay, let us check how to let us see how to check this concave polygon. So we are going to consider the edge vectors. Okay, so if we set up a vector for each of the polygon edge, then we use cross product of adjacent edges to test for concavity. All such vector products will be the same sign, positive or negative for convex polygon. Okay, so therefore if some cross products yield positive value and some negative value, we have a concave polygon. Okay, so if you are seeing here particularly, we have uh, drew a concave polygon. Okay, concave polygon, and we have also this edge vectors. Okay, we are going to represent this. So if you are seeing here v1 to v2, v1 to v2, you have got e1 h. Okay, v2 to v3, it's represented as e2h. v3 to v4, we are representing it as e3h. v4 to v5, we are representing as ve4h, and v5 to v6, we represent it as e5h. So like this we are going to represent this edges. Okay, so this representation we write it in the form of edge vector form. Okay, represent all the edges using vector form, and you get a cross product. So how do you how do you calculate this cross product? So for example, take the cross product of e1 and e2. So e1 cross e2, okay, e1 cross e2, then e2 cross e3, like this. Okay, e3 cross e4, e4 cross e5, e5 cross e6. Okay, e6 cross e1. So all the cross products you have to calculate. Okay, suppose if when you're calculating this, okay, if the vector products yields positive, all positive signs. Okay, so suppose you are going to calculate now, and you get here, for example, for this particular concave polygon, you get e1 cross e2 is greater than 0, e2 cross e3 cross product you get greater than 0, but e3 cross e4 you get less than 0. Okay, so you have how many positive signs and how many negative signs here. Okay, so you have some cross products as positive and some you have negative. Okay, so you can see that. So if this is a combination, suppose some cross products are positive and some are negative, then we call it as concave polygon. Suppose whenever you calculate this cross product and you get all cross product as negative or all cross product as positive, suppose that is a condition, then we conclude it as convex polygon. So this is how we check the cross product, and we conclude for the concavity or convex polygon. Okay, so this is identification of algorithm 1, identification algorithm 1. It's used to check the concavity, you can say. And next algorithm, second algorithm, you have identification algorithm 2. Look at the polygon vertex positions relative to the extension line of any edge. Okay, if some vertices are on one side of the extension line and some vertices are on the other side, the polygon is concave. So this is already we have shown in the previous slide. Okay, you can, if you are going to split the, or if you are going to extend the line segment, for example, you take here the extended line of E3. Okay, so if you are going to draw, if you are going to extend this line, you are going to split the polygon into two parts. Okay, so this, if you are going to split the polygon into two parts, then we conclude it as concave polygon. If you when you are going to extend the line, and if you are uh, and if you are not splitting the particular polygon, then we say it as con convex polygon. So in this condition, you have split it into two regions, is it? So that's why it became a concave polygon. Vector method. Let us see the first identification method. So another method you have, that is splitting the polygon. That is another way to find the concavity. So this is another method. This is vector method. So let us see that. First we need to form the edge vectors. So what you have to do, you have to consider the polygon and its edges should be represented with the vector form. Okay. Given two consecutive vertex positions vk and vk plus 1, we identify the edge vector between them as ek is equal to vk plus 1 minus vk. So this is, suppose you consider here initially two vectors vertices you have. This is going from 0 to 1. Okay, so you can represent edge. Okay, so this is, so if you are saying 0, 0 will be vk. Okay, vk plus 1 is the next vertex. Okay, and you have edge also. Edge is what? ek is equal to vk plus 1 minus vk. So calculate the cross products of successive edge vectors in order around the polygon perimeter. Okay, so you have to find out all the cross products of successive edges. Okay, that means E1 cross E2, find the cross product of this, E2 cross E3, like this. Okay, you have to go on calculating the cross product of the successive edges. So you have so many edges here, you have to find out all the cross products of all the edges. If z component of the sum cross product is positive, while other cross products have the negative z component, the polygon is concave. Okay, so after conducting the calculation, that is you get a cross product, is it? So in that cross product, suppose z component is concave, sorry, z component is negative. So I say here, for example, you got a component that is cross product as 0 comma 0 comma minus 2. Okay, so minus 2 is in the third position, that means z component it is. So then you conclude it as the polygon is concave. Okay, so in this manner, so we apply the vector method by processing edge vectors in counterclockwise order. Okay, if any cross product has negative z component, the polygon is concave, and we split it along the line of the first edge vector in the cross product pair. Okay, so if you get, suppose you say here the z component, whatever you get, maybe you got z component, that is e2 cross e3 as 0 comma 0 comma minus 2. Okay, suppose if you get that, then what you have to do, that was the first cross product to give you negative z component. So that time what you have to do, you have to consider that particular edge and you have to extend the line. Okay, so what happens when you are going to extend the particular line? So we have extended here e2 edge, because e2 cross e3 was yielding a negative z component, so that's why we have extend the particular line segment. So what happened, whenever you extended, you got two regions, or your polygon was splitted here. Okay, exactly two regions. So that's if you are going to split the polygon in this manner, then we conclude it as it's a concave polygon. So let me take here, for example, let me write the vector form here, that is edge vector e1 as 1 comma 0 comma 0. That means how do you write it? See here, we have written the units 0 1 2 3. Here also along y axis 0 1 2 3. Okay, so for writing the edge E1, you are going to move from 0 to 1. Is it 1 unit in x direction? So that's why you write it as 1. Whether you are moving in a y direction for the edge, to write the edge E1, you are not moving in y direction, and also you are not moving in z direction. That's why it's written as 1, 0, 0. Okay, so this is how you write for edge vector E1. Okay, let us represent E2. So for writing E2, you are moving from position 1. How many units you will be moving? In x direction you will be moving in 1 unit, and in y direction you are moving in 1 unit. So that's why 1, 1, 0 you are going to write. Z is 0 because it's a polygon. Z component will be all 0. Okay, and next E3H. E3H also you have to represent in the vector form. So let's see that how to write it. You have to move from 2 to 3. Okay, but when you are moving here, see that x axis you are going to write 1 itself. 1 unit you are going to pass, is it? But when you are moving in y direction, you are going in negative direction, is it? That is E3 edge is going in negative y axis direction. So that's why we write it as -1, 0. Z is 0, however. And similarly E4, to write E4, how many units you have to pass in x direction? You remain in the same axis. Sorry, x axis you are not going to move, so that's why you write it as 0. But y axis, if you are seeing, it's moving how many units? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's why it's E4 is 0, 3, 0. Okay, it is 3. It's not 2 there, it's 3. Okay, 0, 3, 0. And next E5 is E5 in negative x axis, so that's why -3, 0, 0. And again E6 is how many units? 1, 2, 3 in y axis, so that's why x axis you are not going to move, so that's why 0, -3, 0. Okay, so this is how you write the edge vectors. So in all the edge vectors, if you are seeing here, z component is 0. Okay, since all the edges lie in xy plane only. Now, suppose consider the first edge vector, that is, you have to calculate now the cross product of E1 and E2. See, already you have edge vectors E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E6, up to E6 you have. Now let me take one example to show you how to do the cross product. E1 cross E2. Okay, so if you are going to write, how do you represent in how do you represent that? So z is always 0. Okay, however, but E1 edge, if you are considering, it is x axis 1, y axis 0, and z axis 0. Okay, and E2, if you are considering, it is 1, 1, z axis is 0. Okay, and how do you calculate the cross product of these two component? Okay, it is, suppose it is, you can consider it as x is multiplied with 0 into 0, 0 into 0 minus 1 into 0 minus, so this is x component. Next is y into y. When you are taking, you leave y component, and how do you write? It is 0 into 1, 0 into 1 minus 1 into 0, 1 into 0. And next z, z component when you are calculating, it will be again 1 into 1 minus 1 into 0. Okay, like this you are going to calculate. Okay, so that's equal to x into 0 minus y into 0 plus z into 1 minus 0. Okay, so that's equal to, you get x component 0, y component 0 and 1. Is it? So this is cross product of edge vector E1 and E2. So this is a cross product. This is how you calculate cross product E1 and E2. So similarly, apply the cross product calculation for calculating E2 in E2 cross E3, E3 cross E4, E4 cross E5, E5 cross E6 and E6 cross E1. Okay, in the same manner you are going to calculate for the rest of the cross products. Okay. So the cross product Ej cross Ek for two successive edge vectors is a vector perpendicular to the xy plane with z component equal to Ejx. So this is the suffix. Okay, edge. Okay, so it is jx is suffix here. Similarly, ky is suffix. Okay, minus ekx ejy. Okay, so this is how you calculate the cross product. So this calculation already I have shown in the previous slide, how to form the find out the cross product of the two edge vectors. The values for the above figure is as follows. So as you got E1 cross E2 is equal to 0, 0, 1. E2 cross E3 will be 0, 0, minus 2, and E3 cross E4 is 0, 0, minus 2, and E4 cross E5 is 0, 0, 6. E5 cross E6 is 0, 0, 6, and E6 cross E1 you get 0, 0, 2. So whenever you compare this, okay, somewhere if you get negative sign, keep in mind here. See here, E2 cross E3 you got negative. Z component is negative. Okay, so let us mark that. Since cross product of E2 cross E3 yielded you negative Z component, we split the polygon now. Okay, along the line vector E2. The line equation for this edge has slope of 1 and y intercept of -1. No other edge cross products are negative, so the two polygons are both convex. Okay. So here you need to extend the line E2, and when you are extending the line, so you extend the line and you are going to split the polygon into two new polygons, and again two new polygons whatever you get will be convex in nature, so that these polygons, that is convex polygons, can be easily drawn with the help of computer graphics. Okay, so you have transformed a concave polygon. Okay, and you are going to after splitting the polygon, concave polygon, the splitted polygons will be convex.